going on, guys? How is it going? This is Tyler, and today I'm bringing you a new video. I hope everybody is having a wonderful day today. And today's video, I just kind of want to, I want to tell kind of a story, but I kind of want to do a breakdown of really what this is. I'm not going to say it just because I don't want to, like, the video to get demonetized or whatever, just right off the bat. But the fact of the matter is, just from the title alone, my introduction to smoking, my introduction to the community, the lifestyle, everything like that. I mean, what I went through and what I learned, right? So today's video, it's going to be definitely an adult conversation, an adult topic, but as I see and I did see and as I grew up and saw, the culture of smoking weed is definitely being picked up by younger and younger generations as it goes on. You know, the younger and younger it gets, and it's definitely being taken more of recreational. It's definitely being pushed as being safer for you than cigarettes, definitely being safer for you than drinking alcohol. So you know, if you go to a party and it's just a bunch of potheads, it should be seen as safer than going to a party with a bunch of people getting drunk. But I also have along the lines have heard the statement of weed is a gateway drug, and that right there, I mean, once you do start, you know, smoking and everything like that, you're like, you don't want to do other stuff. Like there's no reason for me to do other stuff. But I want to touch on my experiences and how everything along the line, the negative things that are attached to weed, they aren't just attached for no reason, and it's not just like a bigot that's just against it that has that opinion. That these statements and these negatives do hold some truth, and I want to go through my experience. So today I want to talk about my timeline and my experience with marijuana. And the reason I want to speak on that is because it became a problem of mine in my adult years that I had to recognize as an issue of myself. It wasn't like a full-blown like problem, but like it was a negative that if it kept progressing, it was only going to become bigger negative. So I had to nip that in the bud and had to adjust a few things. But my very first experience with marijuana was 11 years old, when we had just moved to Florida. I had tried it. Dudes that I was hanging out with at the time, well, the dude I was hanging out with the time, he had an older brother. They had a little older friend group, whatever. So eventually one day, just me and his brother ended up going out in like the little trail area of the woods, and he was just like, yeah, he's got something, you know. So we went out there, and his brother sparked it up, and us three just kind of stood there and smoked. And then through that, you know, with his friends and everything like that, I ended up smoking a backwood and all of that, like, very early on. And so that, you know, of course, didn't carry on very long because I was 11 and then we moved. And so I wasn't necessarily out there seeking it out. It was there at the time. I had tried it, so on and so forth. So I didn't dabble or anything. I wasn't interested. I did not care. There was times in high school that people would offer and everything like that. Didn't care. Did not do it. Did not care. I would just go to school, go home, play my games. So and that was rinse and repeat. And so that went on again until all through high school. And around 18 was whenever I dabbled with alcohol for the first time. Again, had no interest in it, and just for the environment, just because of the people I was hanging out with at the time, I tried alcohol for the first time. Don't care for it, didn't care for it, and so that was good. I was proud of that. I was like, good. I don't like it. And then so that carried on. And about 19 years old was whenever I picked up smoking again. Now, it was definitely, this was around 2016, so within the music culture, within the party scene, within just that time period, that was when Lil Uzi Vert was coming out. That's when Bad and Bougie by the Migos, you know, music culture and the party scene and everything was blowing up. Around 2016, XXXTentacion, you know, that whole Tekashi 6ix9ine crap. All these artists, this whole Lil Peep, all this collective just exploded, just an absolute nuke. And tied along with all of that was a lot of, your lifestyle, your party lifestyle, your self-destructive mentality really kicking in. You had your ex and your peeps and all those sad boy music, so it was just constantly fueling you with depressed thoughts, and then you'd go out and you would find a depressant. You had your Lil Uzi Vert and your Migos and everybody and 21 Savage, talking about very dangerous lifestyles and very dishonest and deceptive traits to chase after, and all of this was just blowing up all at once. And so if you were going anywhere within crowds, you were hearing these lyrics, you were hearing these songs, you were everything. So the music was tied in with the substance of the time period. So of course myself, with the crowd I was in, I loved the music, I loved the scenes, and then along with it, the substances. During that time period, Xanax became a very, very, very big thing, because and a lot of these artists were pushing and promoting it. I remember watching videos before they were even famous of Smoke Perp and Lil Pump, and doing their very first very first tours ever of their career, and they're sitting there, minors, 16 years old, popping 6 Xanax bars. Like that's death right there. That's a way to die. And they're doing it and promoting it and laughing about it, and made a career out of things like that. And during that time, that's whenever I was kind of creeping into all of it. So all of it was like taking me to the carnival. Like I was looking around and just seeing all the lights, and just kept going deeper and deeper into the house of mirrors. It just kept turning me back around to look at myself, and until I was tired of reflection and I had to get out of there. So 2016, 19 years old, I really dove back in, and I started smoking. And around that time, I was buying pretty regularly. I was getting my fixing quite frequently. So it was pretty much every day I was smoking, and that went on for about 2 years. So within 2 years of constantly smoking, you need something to smoke every day. Every day, that requires a lot of money. Well, with what I was doing and how I was living and the people I had around me, sustainability and security wasn't necessarily a priority. So within weed, becoming a stoner, I loved it. I loved the community. I loved the process of even breaking weed down, rolling it up. Just that whole, it's like effort. And you get a nice blunt rolled or a nice J rolled, and you put it to your lips, you spark it up. Like, it's almost like a ritual. It's almost like you're doing a ritual. It's relaxing, breaking it down and rolling it up, and then you set fire to it, and then you inhale that from the effort that you put in, and you exhale it with utmost high thoughts. So it's almost like a ritual, and I didn't realize all of that. And so I'm just doing it every day, and I'm just like, yeah, like this is my routine. And at the time I was getting into music, so I was in my head saying like, yeah, these getting high and being able to just swim through my thoughts, like it makes making music very easy. I could write music very easily. Well, that's a lie, because you can write music a lot easier and a lot more linear when you're sober and you're on point with things. Well, I kept doing that. I again made it into my daily routine, so I was smoking every day. Then the friends you get with it, it's just like, it's not like a cigarette, it's not like a beer or something like that. It's not just like, hey, come over and have a beer. Like, you hit your homie up and it's just like, you got 15 minutes on break, come over, we're gonna hit a few dabs, and then you go back to work. Like, and you bond so much from it. Like, it's such a twisted mentality, but yeah, it's like, instead of everybody getting around and getting belligerent, it's everybody come around and laugh and joke and just and relax. And so, friends would come around in big smoke circles. Everybody would bring their sacks. Everybody would bring, their bits, and everybody roll up and everybody share, and it's like a community. So I was drawn to that. I was 100% drawn to that. And it wasn't until a few years of me smoking every day that I realized that I'm doing a lot less than what I could be doing because of the lie that I fed myself. So when people say like, "Oh yeah, you can be productive off weed, you could do this and that, so on and so forth," yes, but whenever it becomes a part of your daily routine to the point where you're not even thinking about it, like it's second nature, chances are that the time you're taking to smoke and relax and doing that, there's probably something else you could be doing that you're not even thinking about, but it's so programmed in your daily routine, you're not even thinking about the possibilities of what you could do with that time other than smoking. So, in the long run, it's not beneficial, and so it wasn't beneficial to me because I don't really have restraint when it comes to things like that. So again, went on for about 2 years solid of me constant. Went on about 4.5 years of here and there, but about 2 years of absolute solid every single day. When they say that weed is a gateway drug, that doesn't mean like you're gonna smoke weed, become a stoner, and then just be like, oh well, this ain't powerful enough anymore. Like, I need something stronger, and I need something stronger, and I need something. No, you're not always gonna snowball like that. But I can say is, with it being an illegal substance, it's a gateway to crime. It's a gateway to bad experiences. It's a gate. You're not going to go to somebody that's actively serving in an illegal act as their career of choice and them not be tied deeper than just weed. You're not going to have somebody that has something of illegal value and them not carry a gun, be dangerous at some extent. So all of these things, they go along with it hand in hand. And so people that I just, my interest was weed. Like weed, I didn't see that as harmful, but the people I was going to get it from didn't just deal with weed. Their lifestyle wasn't just a stoner lifestyle. These were drug dealers. And so as I started befriending these guys, thinking I was befriending them, like they're nice, they're courteous, they're so on and so forth. They're not like your typical drug dealer. Like they don't put off the look. They talk to you like business. It's true entrepreneurship. And when it gets on that level, it's like you want to be around these people. They're talking numbers. They're talking hustle. They're progressing. Well, in their own game, because somebody else runs the game, and once that they want to shut it down, they're going to shut it down. So anyway, that's pretty much on the lines. That is true. The gateway thing, like, there's very, unless now you go to like a legal state and you're always just going to the dispensary, you're going home, like you're treating it like an actual medicine, or you're treating it like an actual, Um, but if you're still getting it off the streets, you're still, that is already mentally putting yourself in a realm that's not stoner life. That's completely separate from just weed. When you involve yourself in that illegal lifestyle. So I did that. And so for about 2.5 years, I was like, well, I gotta make money, to support my habits, this and that. I already see the numbers, I see this, so I started into selling it, and then I was like, well, I can't sell it and smoke it because I'm not gonna make any money, so I had to find something else to sell. So I just started taking the money I would get it from weed and flipping it for other substances that I could make more money off of, and that they were easy to push and all of that. And so I became, low level, just delinquent dealer. And that even led me into, I was like, well, all right, I'm already hanging out with these guys, already doing these things. They want me to do a run for this, but I could do a run with guns, and that'd be easier and a lot more money. And so it was a gateway. I completely, just from me wanting to smoke weed, did so much because of it was a gateway, and I was completely blinded by it. And I took those leaps and bounds, going deeper and deeper and deeper, and then turned around and I was like, hold up, I'm choosing to do all of this. I don't have to do any of this. I'm not even, like, if I look back at myself as a child, like, I'm not an addict. I'm not a stoner. I've always saw myself as above being a stoner or an alcoholic or somebody that's dependent on substances. I've always seen myself as higher above that. And so I had to look back on that and say, this isn't me. I've chosen to belittle myself within my emotional destruction. And it really opened my eyes to who I was and what I needed to do. And what that was get sober. And that's when I moved. And I completely, just the recreation of what you see now. I moved, I got sober. My mind is now just, like I said, it allowed me to see that even writing music, I can write songs just boom, 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 boom. They may not be good, but they're more linear. Like they make sense. They're not just like freestyles or hip hop, rap, and just whatever. It's true, make it sense, and I can do it just off the dime. Sober is so much better, and again, that was within the community of being a stoner. There's so many lies and misconceptions within it that I mean, your friends will start making excuses for themselves, and you're just like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. I'm gonna adopt that. I can't go anywhere without smoking. My anxiety is like, no, smoking increases your anxiety. The reason you're an anxious shell now is because you're smoking every day. You haven't learned how to tighten those emotional grips. But that was my experience. I wanted to share it with you guys just mainly to document it for my future, 15 years down the road whenever YouTube's on their last whim and it's just like, watch your last few hours of videos before we shut down the program. It's like, yeah, I want to come back and I want to see this and learn from my lessons. I want to see the lessons that I've learned. I want to share them with you guys, and especially a lot of you guys creeping into adulthood and now, the curiosities are endless. Like I said, it's becoming very well known as like the safe route of smoking and this and that, and it's becoming welcomed as a medicine and everything. I just want you guys to be aware of the lifestyle that it does carry, the possibilities of the negatives that are spoken about. Again, there's truths within everything about that. But that was my experience and kind of how I went through. I still love the smell of weed. I still, again, love the process of rolling up. Like, if somebody has weed and whatnot, I'm not gonna be smoking it. But if they want me to roll it, like that's gonna make me happy, because I love rolling up. I love handing somebody off like a nice pearl and being like, yeah, I did that. Like, that's for you. Smoke up. But like, I am so happy that I no longer participate in that, and so I don't want to be an advocate against it, because there's truths within the negatives and the positives, all of them. But to be aware and be alert, and that, yeah, recreational, it could be recreational, but understand like how often the recreational is. You may play basketball maybe twice a week, right? And that's a recreational sport. But then you'll recreationally smoke every single day, about twice, 3 times a day, before every meal, after every meal, before you go to sleep. And it's like, that's no longer recreational. You are dependent. And yeah, when you're dependent on basketball, you go to the NBA. When you're dependent on weed, you spend a lot of money and sleep a lot. There's the moral of the story. I hope you guys enjoy the video. I know this is completely off the wall. This is nothing to do with anything related to what you guys are familiar with, but take something from it, learn from it. Let this be a food for thought. Sit on it. If you've had the curiosities, maybe a second thought on it. Maybe it's not for you. It isn't for everyone. But yeah, I learned a lot of lessons throughout my mistakes, and from that, I definitely want to share and double down on and hopefully inspire somebody to make a better decision, or at least take the extra second to put the second thought, an extra thought into a decision that could be life-changing. Anyway, guys, this was Tyler. This was my video, and I just hope you guys are having a great day and have a fantastic future to come. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.